There's this line in the song, I'm holding on, why is everything so heavy? And if you've ever felt like that, like really, really felt it, the way your bones ache with it, the way it sits in your chest like a rock, weighing so much, then you know. You know how hard it is to explain, just to say out loud, just to admit that sometimes just existing takes absolutely everything you've got.
So that's why we're here. Mind Matters is a podcast from the people who brought you Who Cares, and it's not just another podcast about mental health. It's a space where we drop the act, there's no sugarcoating, no just think positive, just real talk. About the days when the weight wins and about the fight that nobody sees. About what it actually takes to keep going when everything in you wants to let go.
We've been the people who couldn't get out of bed. We've been the ones that smile whilst we're falling apart. And we've learned this. The moments that we drag the stuff into the light, that's when the power loses. That's when we realise we're not broken, we're just human.
So, whether you're here because you're struggling or because you love someone who is, welcome. You're safe here and you're not alone.
Hi everyone.
Welcome back. We're going to talk today about anxiety when your brain's fire alarm just won't turn off. There's a special kind of hell knowing your panic is irrational while being absolutely and utterly powerless to stop it. You can have a panic attack in a supermarket because the cereal options are overwhelming. And if anyone's ever been toy shopping with my son, then will know what those options are like, because he just goes into a bit of a meltdown when he's got too much to choose.
It's a bit like when your missus gets a credit card, isn't it? It's dire.
is that your anxiety?
Absolutely.
I thought it's John's hair right now. It's making me feel a bit ill.
Proper ill.
Is he under there? Oh, hello.
As you said, I'm going all sideshow Bob for this episode.
Right, can we...
You can miss important events because your brain could be convinced that the tube is definitely going to crash today. It's not worrying too much. It's your nervous system stuck in a trauma loop. It just can't escape. Let's talk about surviving in a world not built for neurosensitive people. So, anxiety. John?
I think it's something we all have sometimes, isn't it? For me, I mean, I have times when I suffer a bit as I hide my hair like this.
Please take that hair off. I'm really struggling to
I think anxiety is an awful thing to have, isn't it? And some people suffer it much more than others. But I think people like myself, I go through cycles of it. I'll be alright for absolutely donkeys, and all of a sudden it'll come to fruition. And it might even be something like you go on holiday and you're sat waiting for the plane, like you say, completely irrational. What happens if the plane crashes? I've got a friend of mine who they won't travel together, husband and wife, in case something happens to the car and the kids are left behind. So they hate travelling
I think
together.
she just doesn't like her husband.
Standards.
Yeah.
It's the standard response. Put that ring on. Hate you. I mean, but I think it's a natural response, but it is irrational sometimes, and I think it can be completely debilitating, can't it?
It doesn't always have to come from anywhere though.
No.
I woke up this morning and I just felt sick to the pit of my stomach, My stomach was churning and my hands were sweating and my heart was racing. I was like, what is going on?
Delayed Jaeger bomb hangover.
Oh, anxiety. But it's like I had to really kind of like have a word with myself. But sometimes it can be really debilitating, and kind of again, I think we spoke about it. I think it was episode 1 or 2, but I went for a really bad stage of it recently, like really, really bad. I just kept going back to bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't focus. I couldn't function. The most mundane task I couldn't do, and I could look after my little girl, and that was kind of my peak. And when she was at school, and I just was kind of hiding myself away, and I didn't want to face the world, and the thought of even going to the shop was like, oh, well, I'm not going to the bloody shop. Don't be ridiculous. And it's like that feeling where you just want to hide away because it's like you feel kind of like almost stuck. And the thought of actually going out and facing the real world is just way too much. And there's a huge difference between that and kind of feeling a little bit anxious or a little bit worried about something when it can completely just shut you down.
I mean, we know you fairly well. We know that happens to you, but an onlooker would not know that about you.
No.
The way you portray yourself, they wouldn't. With that though, do you feel like there's little milestones that build up to that? So little things that you think over the weeks building up to that, you think, God, if I'd thought about that at the time, I might have been able to stop that. Little things happen.
This is the problem. We're all too busy. We're so busy every day. You don't have time to think about stuff sometimes.
Little triggers, little micro
yeah, and then all of a
triggers,
sudden you sit down. It's all built into one, and it's like, whoa, yeah.
And suddenly it's the most massive thing. And the irony of it is, sometimes in reality it's the smallest little problem, isn't it? But it just feels overwhelming at the time. You think it's the biggest thing in the world, and you reflect back and go, "What was that all about?"
Yeah.
I mean, what about yourself?
I get anxiety all the time. I mean, even before doing a demo that I've done 100 times, even between like speaking to someone, it's just that fear of the unknown, isn't it? Because if you take the deadly duo, which is anxiety and overthinking, which we both all have,
And imposter syndrome, chuck that one in as well.
that one goes in.
We're not doing too well, are we?
We've got jigsaws. But overthinking is worrying about the past. So it's when you have a shower and then you start worrying about something that happened 14 years ago that you can't possibly change. It's got no bearing in your life, but all of a sudden that will get in there. And that's worrying about the past, whereas anxiety is the uncertainty of the future. So it's kind of like, what's going to happen on this call? What's going to happen when we go for? It might be taking the kids out for a play date with someone and like,
do you find
it's going to kick off?
Yeah. If you've got to meet a new parent for the first time, then if you take them out for a play date for the first time, the anxiety of actually having to spend time with a parent you've not spoken to before, even that in itself can be a huge issue, can't it? Someone like one of their friends from school, and they want to meet up and play, and you've got to sit there with this person you don't know.
Have a conversation.
But no idea about how they're feeling.
Sorry, do that
again. But yeah, anything can kind of trigger it. And
do you find that anxiety is worse though when you've put a lot of emphasis on it in your own mind? So suddenly, if it, like when you're talking about your demos, and it could be potentially a big sale, and it might be one a massive account, and you've got to nail it. Does that make it worse for you because you're sort of feeling, I have to get this through, I have to get this deal?
Like putting yourself under
100%,
pressure.
100%, especially if you're in a job role that's got KPIs, that's got targets. I mean, I've been in sales most of my adult life, and it's always had a target, always had a KPI. So again, that increases the pressure that you put on yourself. But I think it's definitely, I mean, and in the kind of normal walk of life, it's like that situation we talked about before when you meet a parent for the first time. It could be someone that you really want to make friends with. It could be someone that you like want the children to get on, and you're just worrying about like.
But it doesn't even matter, does it? Because lots of people these days have like group WhatsApp groups, don't they, for parents?
Yeah.
And you get to know them via the WhatsApp way before you meet them.
yeah, you do.
But even
it's
then,
different.
it doesn't matter.
It's in a
does it?
group setting. You're less vulnerable. You're behind a screen. It's going back to that screen thing again we spoke about in one of the other episodes.
Yeah.
That kind of face-on-face interaction is really, really different. I mean, it was Amy's parents' evening last week, and I was like giving myself an anxiety attack in the car before I'm going to meet her teacher.
And the irony is, she always does amazing.
She does amazing. Amy, like, she smashes it constantly at school all the time. But something about schools and even, like, school receptionists and teachers, they scare the flipping life out of me, and the amount of anxiety that induces.
You feel like you're being judged a lot as well,
you're
don't
not,
you? You want to be good enough for your child.
But the teachers looking at, am I doing a good enough job?
Yeah.
What are they thinking about me? Like, does my breath smell? Like, all these things that you kind of sat there.
Well, it could be
There's the stupid thoughts that go through your head when you feel like people are kind of observing you and how you're behaving.
But sometimes it doesn't even need to be in it. I mean, I remember doing an apprenticeship with hairdressing when I left school, and I used to just go to school after school. I used to go to college on a Monday, and had a really good day. I just had lunch with my friends, and suddenly had my first ever panic attack in the classroom. I don't think anything was on my mind. I was having a really good day. I'd been for lunch with all my friends. There was nothing, and suddenly I was at this table and I couldn't breathe, and I just couldn't work out why I couldn't breathe. And they took me downstairs, and I had like a paper bag to breathe in. Yes, gave me a good slap in, a good kick in.
Lucky you're not there.
But once you've had that first panic attack, then you panic about having a panic attack. And that minute you get a little bit of anxiety or a bit breathless, you think, oh, it's coming again.
And that's really hard because I don't suffer with panic attacks. It's not I don't suffer with anxiety, I do, but I don't. So I find that really hard to understand. And it's not a judgment. It just I've seen people have panic attacks and have pretty much meltdowns. A friend of mine, he refused to get on the plane to go back to Italy. His wife's Italian. He wouldn't get on the plane. Just completely had a meltdown in the airport and just wouldn't get on the plane. And I can really understand that because I've always been somebody who will overcome it. That's not saying I might not get to that stage.
No, there's other things that you struggle with.
There are other things I struggle with, but I find it really hard to understand that.
Yeah.
And but it must be awful.
Well, I didn't even know what brought it on. This is what I mean. I do get anxiety, and I am quite an anxious person. It runs in the family. I only learned at my granddad's funeral. He had a breakdown at the age of 30. He was actually sectioned twice and had electric shock therapy. I only found that out. So it's kind of in my family. My dad always suffered with anxiety and depression. My mum has. But this particular day and my first ever panic attack, what brought it on? I just don't know. It just came out of nowhere.
And it's crazy, isn't it?
And it's weird, yeah.
Because
really
even after,
weird.
that was some time ago, whenever it was.
Some time ago. It was some time ago.
But my point is, you've obviously reflected on that.
Yeah.
And even now, you still don't know what it brought on. 'Cause
no.
Quite often, you reflect and think, actually, it was because of this, or it's because of that.
And you genuinely feel like you can't breathe, like something was closing up, and I was really trying so hard to catch my breath, and I just couldn't understand what was happening.
Wow.
And as soon as I breathed into this paper bag and they calmed me down, they said, we think that's what's happening to you, slow your breathing down, and I did, and I felt fine.
Wow. What about you? Is that something that you suffer with, panic attacks?
No, I do suffer from anxiety quite bad at times, but I don't think I've gone to the level of a panic attack. But it's about finding those techniques to work, isn't it? Like blowing into a brown paper bag, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smells are good as well.
Smell? Let's explain that to me.
Smells, coffees, hand cream, stuff like that. It
just brings you back in the room.
Brings you back into the room. Yeah, so
I've heard of that one. I've heard like grounding and stuff,
Yeah.
but I've not heard of that.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. You're touching yourself. You are still here.
Well, I suppose my son's really
I do that a
sensory,
lot.
so they get him to
and
touch
that's
things.
one of your things. Then that's kind of your grounding.
Yeah, and I'm not feeling
mechanism.
anxious, but
No.
I do it all the time.
Yeah. I do that all the time. I've just done it then.
Your daughter's now doing it.
Yeah, Amy does it now. Yeah.
She's cute.
Brilliant.
I've not heard of that before. The smell thing, but I think it does make sense, doesn't it? Because you can
It's
lose
your
yourself.
senses, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So, what is your most absurd anxiety glitch? So, anxiety glitch, well, when you've convinced yourself something.
Do you know what? It's for me. It's not about a single particular thing. I spoke about it in one of the other episodes. It might be that once a blue moon, it is once a blue moon, I cannot sleep. It'll just have a rotating thought in my head, and it's really stupid, and it's probably something very, very small. It might be, I don't know, when I was a registered manager, it might be in the CQC due tomorrow, and you go, oh my God, have I done everything? And it goes round and round and round and round and round, and you wake up in the morning and go, of course I have. You know?
Yeah.
And it's nonsense, but you haven't slept all night, but inside your heart's racing, you can't sleep, you go downstairs, you're writing stuff down, try and get out of your head, and you think, and it's completely irrational because you know you've done it all, but you can't stop.
But the more you get worried about not being able to sleep, the less you can sleep.
Oh, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
You count down the hours.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I've
like
got
that.
2 hours, and then that's even worse.
Well, I'm going to struggle for the next few nights. I fell asleep earlier for half an hour. And I get it every now and again. A massive sleep paralysis attack. And this one was really kind of quite horrific. And I couldn't move, and I'm on the sofa. I can't get up. I can't move. I know I'm kind of awake, but I'm falling back to sleep. And I've got my HR advisor sat at my dining room table offering me lasagna. My mum comes in and slams a bottle of ketchup down on the table. I've got dog poo next to me, and all these things that in that moment are so real. Whilst I'm trying to wake up and whilst I'm trying to get up and go to sleep, it's completely What
It's
is
really
it's going
so old. I
on?
love
And I
it.
sat up in the sofa, oh, thank God for that. My HR business partner's not there. My mum hasn't come in.
It's a shame about the lasagna not being
I
there.
know.
I'm actually doing a thing. I think this is.
For the next few nights, I'll struggle to sleep because I'm going to be worried that I'm going to
That's
have
gonna happen again.
another sleep paralysis thing that's going to come through. So yeah, something can trigger that as well, can't it?
Well, I had a meeting
That's
at the
children,
school this
they're just
morning that
trying to
I've
see
been
as
worried about all week. Then last night, I don't
Yeah.
think I slept a wink. It felt like I was on the magic roundabout all night. My brain just didn't shut up. Got up this morning, got to the school, had the meeting. Didn't even feel anxious before the meeting, but all night, my brain.
It's definitely worse for me at night.
Everything's worse at night. It's really odd.
The silence. I mean, so the other week, I was obviously I went away and I did some bits and pieces. I put the earplugs in. I don't wear earplugs, but you know what? It was so odd because you can hear your heart beating with earplugs, in, can't you? And I've not experienced that really very often.
What, your heart beating?
Yeah. I'm dead. I'm dead inside.
Swinging. Wasn't your heart beating? It was a swinging rock.
But I think
Wow. Can I press the button?
go on.
Which one? Oh dear.
Someone take it. I've completely lost
So,
what I'm
I don't know
doing.
what's going
That's
on
all right. I'll bring it back. So, does anyone have anxiety, or has anyone had anxiety to the level where it leads to avoidance? So, avoiding doing a certain task, or avoiding doing a certain job, or speaking to a certain person.
I'm terrible for avoiding speaking to people. Yeah, or making a phone call, and I'll get so anxious, but I just won't do it. And I'll
You
put
got
it
really
off.
funny about our holiday thing the other
Oh,
day,
I
didn't
can
you?
do
You're
it.
like, how are you making that phone call? It makes me really anxious. I
just
said, well, if we
do it.
don't make the phone call,
I just
we'll
do it.
move more.
No, I'll just avoid. I'll just avoid, and I'm terrible, and it's piling up, and the letters are piling up, and the missed calls are piling up, and I just can't do it. No, I'm not doing it. I just cannot do it. There's a barrier that stops me, and I have to really, really hype myself up. And if I decided now I needed to make a particular phone call, I'd have to put the headphones out and go and do it, because I have to take that window of opportunity. Because aside from that, there's so many conversations I avoid having.
Did you
And
find
how do you explain that to people? Because obviously sometimes that might be someone's expecting a call in a certain time frame. You need to hype yourself up.
I either just would ignore the fact that I hadn't done it up until then, and if they kind of mentioned it, just completely skirt over it, because I don't want to face. I'm not going to kind of acknowledge to them how I felt about it. So I'll just kind of skim over it, or apologise and quickly change the subject, or I just won't do it. There's certain times I genuinely have not sent that email, I've not made that phone call, I've not responded to that person, and I just stick my head in the sand, and one day they'll go away. And
the ostrich approach. Classic. Sometimes the classics.
and then I
don't
throw my phone out the window, burn my car, move house.
die.
She said to me yesterday.
Why wouldn't you like burn the house and use the car to move house?
I'm too anxious to think, Lee.
That's logic!
There's no mental health in this room.
So, John, same question. Would you ever avoid doing things, and how do you explain that to people if you have to?
Mine isn't about anxiety to avoid doing things. It's purely that I've become almost overwhelmed with too many things. It's not about anxiety. I end up having so much to do that I almost can't function because there's too much to do, and then I have to really draw back and go, right, what's the most important? And like I was saying earlier, if I've got 2 or 3 projects on the go, I can manage 2 or 3 projects. But then somebody comes in and disturbs me, I'm completely gone. I don't know where I am. I don't know how to restart, and they won't get restarted. It might be months. So I have to start and I have to finish. So some things I really am really bad at, because I know I have to have a lot of amount of time to start and finish. And if I can't, there's no point in starting it. So it's not about anxiety, that's just about how I function. So I will hyper-focus and I'll get it done. But if I can't hyper-focus and just get it done, there's just no point in leaving it to me, really.
I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, there's no point. If you want me to do something, you've got to go, John, how long do you need? And will you get it done? I'll go, yep. And I'll go upstairs and I'll say, don't disturb me for 3 hours. Because there's no point. There's no point. I was doing something the other week and Bridget burst in. Oh no, when I called Gemma burst in, I went, because I just knew that I won't be able to do it. But I guess off the back of that though, I have had anxiety that's because it's been mounting up afterwards. Because I haven't done it because I've lost track, but I know it's really important. So I'm putting myself under pressure to go, How are you going to get started on that, John? When are you going to get started on that, John? Because the phone will ring, and like you, I get bombarded with emails from everybody who want your attention, and it's just really hard, isn't it? I had to make a complaint at a well-known software company the other day. I'm not going to say who it was because it's not fair, but it just wasn't working properly. Just wasn't working properly.
I can help you out.
And trouble is though, my time is allotted, and because I missed that opportunity because it wasn't working, I'm now behind.
Yeah.
And that then causes me lots of anxiety because it has a knock-on effect with other people that will do the job after me, and I'm like, so I sent them a lovely email.
Strongly worded email.
A friendly but strongly worded email, yeah. But it's not fair, is it, that everyone can have such an impact on your life? When you're that sort of person who has to have it in a certain way, otherwise you can't get it done, it becomes a problem. So how do we manage that though? Because
we all work differently, don't we? And we can't. It's unfair of us, but we all do it to put our kind of expectations of how we want things to be done onto other people. Because if it's not done in that certain way, that's going to cause our anxiety. But then we have to be really mindful that us trying to push the way we want things to be done onto other people, that's going to have a potential impact on their anxiety. And it's just going to be a bloody massive domino effect, and the whole world's just going to be anxious and on the floor, like not doing anything. The world's just shut down.
Even Putin will be anxious next week. I mean, but I think
we do have to be mindful though.
In my defence, it's not too much for me to expect the things I've bought to work.
No, it's different.
So that causes me angst because I just get stroppy. I'm just like, fix
Put
it.
some Nirvana on.
Huh?
Put some Nirvana on, just to lean into that like angst.
Yeah.
Ding, ding,
Yeah, get a bit emo.
ding. Yeah.
No,
My Chemical
no,
Romance.
Put some baggy jeans
When
on.
I was a young boy.
You just get Lee round to sing at you.
I'm gone. I've lost it, mate.
I can't stop looking at your wig, to be honest. It's really. Can we get it off the table? It's making me anxious.
I should just put it on. I love
I'm just
the wig.
expecting these legs down. Come and get me.
Okay, Jen.
Hello.
What about you? Same question. So does your anxiety ever lead to avoidance and how
all
do you
the
deal
time.
with that?
Yeah, all the time. I have the most ridiculous anxiety and irrational thoughts. I think I was saying this in the other episode. Ridiculous things. My son, for instance, hurt himself at trampoline park. I will never take him to a trampoline park again. We've been invited to.
Unlucky.
We've been invited to parties. He broke his arm, and I'm terrified it's going to happen again. So we got invited to a birthday party the other day. I didn't tell him.
You won't take him to Butlins ever again?
I'm never going to Butlins again.
I must be the most irresponsible parent ever because my son broke his arm falling out with a trampoline.
So you bought him a trampoline?
So I bought him a trampoline about 3 months later.
No, we've got one at home. It just... Yeah, all these trampolines together, it doesn't feel right. It makes me getting all sweaty thinking about it. He didn't even fall on the trampoline as well, it was on the outside. Yeah, but anyway. But yeah, I avoid things all the time. Even like social interaction.
You just go and lie down, don't you?
I just like a little lie down, yeah.
But I think you're incredibly brave as well, though, because we've only just started getting to know you recently. But you've thrown yourself into this environment, which is really...
I definitely threw myself somewhere.
Yeah. Right there. But I think it takes... You have to be quite brave. Because you struggle with lots of things, like you've said, but you've come here and you've had your heart on your sleeve. And you've got
I have
to deal
been
with
really
Lee
transparent and I've tried to be myself, but it is something I've always wanted to do. I think if we had a live audience in front of us, there's not a chance this would be
That's
happening.
next week's episode.
I'm busy.
Did you see that look?
Jenna's lying.
I'll have a little lay down, yeah. It's, I don't know, like you said as well before, I think sometimes it is a part of getting older as well. But I used to be a really sociable person and now I try and avoid those situations because I am anxious that people might not like me, or, you know, what if I'm out for too long and I don't get enough sleep, or I'm home late, or people don't like me, or what if Emma brings somebody I don't know and I've never met them and they don't like me, or I can't get away. There's so many different factors all the time that I will just avoid doing stuff now.
So I've got a really close friend called Jodie as well, and Jodie and Jenna wanted to meet each other, and it was almost like a date. I had to set up this whole like date thing, and we went out for lunch, and they were both really, really nervous about meeting each other, and it was like it's kind of like they got on really, really well.
Yeah.
But it was such a big thing because Jodie suffers from anxiety as well, and she wouldn't mind me saying that. Yeah. And
didn't you do the toilet test
I
on us? I didn't even know the toilet test was a thing.
Yeah, the toilet test. So if your friend introduces
What's the toilet test? Is this a girl thing?
Well, I was tested and I passed.
Yeah,
apparently.
they both passed. No, so like it's normally done between like if it's like if your friend gets a new boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, and you meet them, and then your friend goes to the toilet, and it's whether or not you can actually communicate with that person whilst your friend's in the toilet, or if you both just sit there like.
What? So you abandoned them and just left them?
She abandoned us, and we actually spoke loads.
Yeah,
didn't
I came
we?
back
It was
and they
just
both passed the
free-flowing.
toilet test, but it was that kind of we both really, really anxious.
Yeah.
About meeting a new person, and it's almost like trying to impress somebody, isn't it? And that can cause anxiety as well.
I'll tell you one that just triggered me that I still probably would, but I don't ever expose myself to it. I always feel socially awkward when I walk into a pub. When it's like on a Friday night, my mates are walking out, oh, how's it going? I sort of walk through, and I just feel like in the
It's
wrong
almost
place.
like everyone's like looking at you, isn't it? And it's,
Yeah, and like I've never been one really to just walk up to a...
We'll take you in spoons after this, John.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, with you, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can just embarrass yourself. But I think...
I don't get embarrassed.
Me neither.
But, you know, I was never one that would walk through a pub and just go and chat up a girl. You know, when I was younger and stuff, I just wouldn't be able to do that.
Well,
it's
no
really
one
weird.
can these days, can they?
Well, no, they
can
can
now.
go-
It's pretty normal.
They're going to... What's your number? You look hot.
Put your Bluetooth on or air.
yeah.
Was that air thing now? Well, you send things to
AirDrop.
Oh, that's it. See, I'm so not tech at all.
Yeah, that's last year's news. I mean,
Yeah,
we are
sorry.
behind.
I got no idea what's going on.
No, what is an airdrop? Hey, what's an airdrop? I
It's
don't
just
You
a
can share
wireless
your
file
numbers.
transfer.
I don't
could
care.
send a picture to anyone on
If you
Apple.
sat in a pub, you can just. send
Oh,
it to
it's
someone,
Apple, is it?
can't you?
It's
Yeah.
Apple.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
The listeners are going to be so confused, aren't they? We don't know what's
Well,
going
if
on.
we're confused, there's no hope, is there?
No, right.
Okay, so
Move on,
Let's,
put it
let's bring it back. Lee's the life jacket, I think, brings it back onto
Yes.
track. So,
Leave the life jacket.
so what role does shame play in worsening anxiety cycles? So, do you, after you've had an anxiety attack and you've missed maybe an appointment, or you haven't got back to someone, you haven't done that
embarrassing.
social anxiety, how does the shame then impact your mental health, your mind?
Massively. I was doing a pantomime that I haven't done.
Oh, no,
it's not
you
been on for a
weren't.
while. Oh, yes, I was doing a pantomime in February, and the lady directing it is someone who's a massively important person in my life. Like she's I couldn't kind of sing her praises enough. Hugely important to me. And I just went through a really kind of bad patch around that time, and it was one of those where I was kind of really struggling and avoiding stuff. And this woman, like, she's done so much for me throughout my life, and it's really important that I didn't let her down with the pantomime. And just because I missed rehearsals, and I wasn't turning up to rehearsals because I wasn't in a really good place, kind of emotionally, and I kept, I hadn't gone to rehearsal for about 4 flipping weeks, and I was one of the main parts. And then the more I didn't go, the worse it became, because I knew how much I was letting her down.
But you did it, and you
I did
smashed
it.
it.
I did it.
You did do it.
And-
Yeah, that's
It
incredible.
took a lot for you to do that first rehearsal and walk in there because you knew everyone was looking at you.
I knew I'd
Yeah.
been let down, and I knew that it was they'd all struggled to rehearse because I wasn't there, and everyone else had made it to the rehearsals 3 times a week, so why couldn't I?
And that's quite a lot though, because you know you're a professional lady. You've got an amazing daughter who you look after on your own. You know, you've got a lot on your plate, and you're throwing that on top. I mean, you should be really proud of yourself.
I am proud of the fact that first night I kind of went, right, put your big girl pants on and walk through that door and do it. And what was so important for me was to be determined to know my flipping lines. So that first rehearsal, I went back, I was like, I'm not going back in that room unless I know my lines. And I sat there over and over again. So the very least I thought I could do to kind of make up for it was know my lines and actually act like I care. Because I had this whole like massive shame thing. People just think I don't care, I'm letting people down. And it would have been so easy to just go, do you know what, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But there was no way I could have done that to this particular lady. There's no way I was going to
I
let down
wouldn't
to
have
that
done it.
point.
I would've just
But
got
friends
laid
to you are
down.
really important, aren't they? You don't let your friends down. I mean, she might do. But I think in general, you know, we will have our moments. But
I had to pull myself out of that one though, and that was a real shame thing. That was a real embarrassment thing. That I got to the point where I just wasn't going, and I couldn't really explain why I wasn't going. So yeah, to pull myself out of that one, that I did it, and I'm proud of myself for doing it, but that wasn't an easy one.
So how did you pull yourself out of that? What was the trigger to start the upward rise?
It was kind of how important this particular person is to me. So, and I really didn't want to let her down. I really didn't want to. And so it was right, okay, just sit there.
And haven't you done it every year? It was like a tradition.
It used to be every year, and then it stopped when COVID.
The
We haven't done
pandemic.
it. Yeah, it stopped around COVID. And we haven't done one since that time. But yeah, I kind of had to really dig deep for that one, and kind of like, right, focus, pick your script up, look at your lines, and me then knowing that I knew my lines and I'd actually prepared for it and not put something else off and let somebody else like down again. Actually, to kind of really focus, pick that up, learn them, and then I felt kind of a bit more confident about the fact, at the very least, I could go in and sit down and kind of like evidence to them that I was taking it seriously. But I think if I hadn't managed to kind of pick that script up and learn those lines, I don't know that I would have gone back in.
It would have been horrendous, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, I don't know that I would have
don't
gone
think
back
you
in.
would
Yeah,
have done
thanks,
it,
John. Yeah.
No, I mean, that you would have felt
No,
even worse. It would have been
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
more horrendous walking in that room,
Yeah.
not being...
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you would you? If you hadn't have done that, you wouldn't want to walk in there completely blank. It's
No.
bad enough sometimes, isn't it, when you're in a meeting and you've zoned out and someone says, "Well, I'll ask you," and you go, "Sorry, what? What? I wasn't listening to your question." And then they look at you like you're really in trouble. Oh God! And they don't repeat it. You just lose the opportunity, and then you feel stupid.
Yeah.
So no, I can understand that. I mean, that's a tricky situation, but you did do it. But like
I did do it, yeah.
the love for that person, the respect for that person pulled you through, didn't it?
Yeah.
And is that something that often pulls us through? The love and respect. It might be for your family member. It might be for your work colleague. Is that sometimes a catalyst that pulls you through these situations?
I think it's always the why that pulls you through, isn't it? I mean, not why might be...
Yeah.
It might be the person that you love that's running. It might be the kids. It might be your job. That might be really important to your professional reputation. But it's always your why. So I think that's why it's so important to realise what is your why. Why are you getting out of bed in the morning? Why do you do what you do? Why do you work so hard?
Yeah.
Because if it's just about you, at some point you're going to come up against something that's tougher than you and you're going to give up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where if it's about the kids, which I think for most people that's their biggest why, isn't it? I know for me it definitely is. Is kind of getting enough money so I can take kids to places like Legoland or on holiday or just nice little treats, and that's what gets me through. But I think it's always your why. It just depends
What your why is. And I think you're so right. If we struggle to find what that why is, then we could potentially be in real trouble.
That's me then, because I don't really know why. It's funny, isn't it? Because I do so much, but I couldn't tell you why. I mean, I know little bits of why, but it's not enough to keep me doing what I do. Because I do a lot of stuff for people for free. Like, all of us are here at this now. We're not being paid for it.
Are we not?
Well,
What?
Well, you're...
See you later.
The worst thing is, she's buying
Didn't
dinner.
even bring snacks and now we're not getting paid, for goodness sake.
but yeah, it is. But then it's just there's something that drives you there. And
I think for me though, I think maybe the why is just because people underestimate you and let that be their own problem, because actually you'll get on and you'll finish it and you'll do it because you want to. So maybe that's what drives me, because people always think that you can't.
I don't think anybody thinks that about you though, John. You know, like you say, you do so much and you do help so many people. But that you are kind of held in quite high regard. I mean, I don't know why, but you are.
Well, that's really kind of. But I think in my mind, going back to the imposter syndrome on the other episode, I think because of maybe my childhood, I always feel like actually maybe I need to step up higher to justify that praise. I don't know. It's tricky, isn't it?
yeah, it could be growth is your why. It's more that you just don't want to be that person from childhood.
I mean, I've got some friends of mine, and it's not a judgmental thing, but they are trapped in their life from like the naughty 90s. They still live in bed sits, and they still do things that I wouldn't really approve of these days.
Judgy John.
Piss
Me,
off.
Judgy Jen.
But I mean, I'm not judging. I love them to bits, but it's just not the lifestyle.
That's not what you want.
Yeah.
I don't want that. No, I want my
No, fair
Bentley
enough.
that I can't afford.
What's the obsession with Bentleys?
I want a Bentley. I want a Bentley. One day I'll have a Bentley.
Borrow Lee's.
I'm going to steal Lee's.
Me and Jen will take a pool each.
Yeah. So
Pull each.
Just take it. Just take a pull.
We're going to call it...
Taking this
Like the
son of a
chicken
bitch
and one
home with me.
So back in the 80s, we had Mr. Two Jags. You're Mr. Two Pools.
You are just the 2 Jags. Don't go there. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So
There's always like a radio silence after I speak. It's like we've lost the plot.
Yeah.
I think we have today.
Yeah.
I think-
Something funny in the air.
I need to smell some coffee.
I just don't think she's showered, mate, and it's putting us all off.
Oh, excuse me, I have showered today, thank
Oh,
you.
you've washed today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's an achievement.
It's a good day.
I
Well
washed
done.
my hair, cleaned my teeth twice.
Oh,
You needed
twice.
to.
Yeah.
She wants kisses there.
So, how can we find safety in those moments of anxiety? Because we know anxiety, we're here talking about mental health, but anxiety isn't just a mental health problem, it's physical. So if we
massively
go
physical.
to that level of anxiety, give
I'm
ourselves
kind of really
stomach
interested in
ulcers.
what you think, because we do a lot of talking, and you do a lot of asking questions. What do you think?
About what? You need to ask me a question.
The question you just said.
Ask him yourself.
Oh, I don't want to ask something you just said. I don't repeat it. I'm a parrot.
Yeah, how would you deal with that?
Again, I just try to identify. So I think the important thing is from every moment of anxiety or every moment of depression or OCD or whatever we're talking about, it's identifying that is not reality. That's not, just got no basis in reality. You've got to learn from it. And then I think like anything, it's okay to have a anxious moment. It's okay to kind of avoid things. It's okay to let it take over. But it's about what we learn from that and what we can identify is this is like the start of an anxiety attack. And for me, it's just about identifying that the start of it where your brain's going and then going, hang on, we've been here before. This is like Groundhog Day, except for with no groundhog and no Bill Murray. And both of those just
Ruined it for us, isn't it?
Can you stop littering? Just keep
Well, me, I'm not.
littering.
But it
all
is a physical thing as
Yeah.
well, and sometimes it can come on in different ways. Some days I can feel the heart palpitations, like you said this morning. You had the sweaty hands and the funny tummy. It can be so many different signs. So it's working out what you're feeling and how. What is your thing to, like you said, ground yourself, the smells, the feels.
It's kind of working out kind of what works for you, and actually sometimes you just got no choice. And there's been times where I've been sucked into those anxious moments, and I've just had to kind of ride that and work through that, and then come out the other side of it. Sometimes like today, I'm like, right, okay, what is it? Right, let's go. I've got this to do for work. I'm going to make sure I eat breakfast today because I'm terrible for kind of skipping meals and stuff. Sometimes I'm going to make sure I eat breakfast. I'm going to put a really good shift in. I'm going to go make myself a salad for lunch and just kind of keep going through chunks throughout the day, and just try and keep focused on particular things rather than allowing myself to kind of get sucked into that spiral that can happen.
No, I think that's right. I think you just have to be aware, don't you? And you need coping mechanisms that you can use.
Yeah, and I think the coping mechanisms, there's healthy ones, and there's going for a walk, there's doing a bit of exercise, there's eating well, there's talking to a friend, there's focusing on something
I was
really
just about to
positive.
say, talking to a friend would be one that
And
I
then
would
there's
do.
the unhealthy, I think we've all been guilty of kind of, trying to self-medicate, and in the moment that kind of is a very kind of quick fix to something that you think's going to help, and actually recognising that that's not, it's not going to help, and it's only going to further kind of compound the issue.
But breathwork's really good as well. Breathwork works for me.
Do you know what? I saw that on a video this morning. I've not really known much about that.
I'll tell you what, I notice a difference. It'll go a couple of days without doing it before bed, and then I do sort of think, oh, why am I feeling a bit rubbish? Why am I feeling a bit low? And it could be even in my head, I don't know. But if I listen to this breath work every night...
So explain what it is.
So I go onto YouTube. There's a guy called Sandy Breathwork, or Breathwork with Sandy. It's the main one that I like, but there's like a help one to get you into deep sleep. There's one for anxiety. There's one for releasing energy or trauma. And they're only from 18 minutes to like 40 minutes. I like the longer ones because sometimes I have to keep rewinding where I lose track, but I find them a lot easier than like meditation and stuff, because you're concentrating on the breathing, and you're like,
So they're basically telling you how
and you're
to
going
breathe.
continuously, yeah. But
Right.
you try so hard to breathe with him
Yeah.
that you're concentrating. So my mind might go, oh, seagull, what have I got for dinner tomorrow? You know, my brain is like that all the time. And it still
Chicken.
does it, yeah, chicken. I don't know why I did this, like the chicken's under my arm again. But I find the breath work much easier to concentrate because you're trying to stay in that pattern, and then all of a sudden after you'll suddenly change it to a different pace, or you've got to hold it in breath retention, and you're concentrating. So it doesn't matter.
I might give it a go.
It's really good.
It just
and
takes you into a real.
it just takes
private
your mind
zone,
off the
doesn't it? Yeah.
rubbish that you're worried about. I could get so worried and worked up about the most ridiculous things. The really important things don't seem to bother me, but the silly little things, they're the things that really mount
Do you know
up.
what? I listen to audiobooks to go to sleep quite often.
See,
Most nights.
I have done that before, but again, my mind starts thinking about what I had for dinner
Different things
yesterday,
work
what
for
socks
different
I'm
people,
putting
though,
on
isn't
tomorrow, and then before I realise, I've missed a chapter, so I have to
I
go
listen-
Well,
back again.
I know every single chapter, well, the first chapter, every single book, because I never get past that.
Oh, I'm absolutely nuts. I'm the
Straight
same.
away.
Absolutely.
I listen to green noise sometimes when I remember to do it, and that helps kind of sleep. So
What's
it's kind
green
of, it's
noise?
like it's like white noise, but it's kind of more kind of
Green.
focused. Yeah, green. It's green.
It's mouldy. It's mouldy.
It's mouldy
noise.
noise, and it's more kind of focused to people with kind of ADHD type brains, and it kind of taps into some sort of frequency in your head. But it's
You did
and I
introduce me to
introduced
that,
it
actually.
to
It's all
and
right.
it does, yeah, but it's remembering to put it on and being bothered to do that.
And that's the same as my breath work.
but that-
If I put it on,
it does help.
it's a good sleep and it does make
It
me
does
feel
help.
good, but I do notice it when I haven't.
But these are
Done
really
it for a couple of days.
healthy things, aren't they? Like you say, self-medicating, having a drink, having a spliff,
Yeah.
whatever it is, whatever your nemesis is, I think does not help long term, does it?
No. Not at
Well,
all.
it's masking everything, isn't it? It's the same as going to the doctor. I feel really depressed. Here's some tablets. It's you're just masking the problem.
Yeah,
I mean, it
absolutely.
is good sometimes as a short-term
It's-
fix. You know, I'm not
it's
saying
not fixing the root cause of
but
it,
it's
though, is
not.
it? It's
No,
like-
you still need to work out
Yeah.
what it is and try and deal with it the most
Yeah.
natural way possible. But we're all buggers for it. We'll pick up a drink or whatever.
Buggers.
We are. We're all
There's
little
a
buggers.
buggers for it.
Little buggers we are.
Where's the tractor? Let's just go down the field.
For chicken.
We're a chicken with buggers in a
God,
tractor.
yeah.
Can you bring your chickens next time?
Shall I?
Yeah.
They could be co-hosts.
So be fucking clucking.
So, again, we're somehow running out of time. This is an episode that we probably want to revisit because there's so much we
Yeah,
can say about
there's loads,
anxiety. Just leave with a song or some song lyrics. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already.
Mate, you've got to wrap this like Eminem
Palms
does.
as heavy.
Go on.
There you go. I'll let someone else wrap it.
No.
No.
I don't know the words.
You just did it.
Palms are heavy.
I think I know that
Sweaty.
bit. Yeah.
Palms are hairy.
Go on. Have a go.
He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps forgetting what he wrote down. The whole world goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words just won't come out. He's choking how everyone's joking now. The clock's run out, time's up over blow. Snap back to reality, there goes gravity.
Back to reality.
And
Oops,
that
there goes
is-
gravity.
That's it. Yeah.
That is like anxiety summed up
There's
in
that
in a
news one
verse,
as well, isn't
isn't
there?
it?
That one that's become really famous on TikTok.
Somebody's watching me,
Yeah.
it's my anxiety.
You guys should do that dance. I'll film it. Come on.
And with that, we are about out of time. Shut up, John. So, got some signposts. So, No Panic. No Panic offers peer support groups run by anxiety survivors. And that number is 0300 772 9844. Crisis. Text shout to 85258. That's text shout to 85258. And just remember, your brain's lying. You are fucking awesome.
Yes.
You are fucking awesome.
Till
Yes,
next time,
Lee.
guys.
See ya!
Bye.